academic standards at the boarding school were the same as the state of Minnesota's. Neither public nor boarding schools had any emphasis on Native American history or culture. I had to learn that on my own. It is my opinion that American Indians have been subjected to more social experiments than any other ethnic group in America. The federal government has also passed more laws affecting American Indians than any other ethnic group in America. And no other group has been betrayed so often by a government that we were taught to trust. I cannot go into the complete history of that relationship. I can only give you some of the historic highlights, starting with the beautiful policy expressed in the Northwest Ordinance of 1789. The utmost good faith shall always be observed towards the Indians. Their land and property shall never be taken from them without their consent, and in their property, rights, and liberty they shall never be invaded or disturbed. I thought a nation with a constitution, a Bill of Rights, and the majority of the people proclaiming allegiance to the Christian 10 Commandments would uphold its commitment to our people. In an ironic twist of fate, General George Armstrong Custer and his 7th Cavalry were wiped out at the Battle of the Little Big Horn on June 25 to 26, 1876, 100 years after the Declaration of Independence. This was a strong indication that Native Americans would not give up their ancestral freedoms easily. Only 3 years later, 2nd Lieutenant Richard Pratt established Carlisle Industrial School in Pennsylvania to educate and train young Indians in order to assimilate them into society. Pipestone Indian Training School was the brainchild of an early Minnesota pioneer by the name of D.C. Whitehead. The school officially opened on February 2, 1893, 3 short years after the massacre at Wounded Knee, South Dakota, in which an estimated 300 Indians were slaughtered. Pipestone Indian Boarding School had students from various tribes: Sioux, Chippewa, Sac and Fox, Oneida, Potawatomi, Omaha, Winnebago, Grovant, Arickaree, and Mandan. Many of them were close to, or experienced, events we now call history. They passed their experiences on to the next generation of students in keeping with our oral tradition. Early in the 20th century, the government outlawed many Indian cultural and ceremonial practices. That policy was mandated to the federally funded boarding schools. It included the prohibition against speaking tribal languages. All religious orders were given free access to the reservations to proselytize the Indian people without federal supervision or tribal control. According to S. Lyman Tyler in A History of Indian Policy, on October 21, 1920, Commissioner Burke issued regulations requiring that Indian children at government boarding schools attend Sunday school and church. Furthermore, he told his superintendents to extend impartial privileges to all denominations. Charles H. Burke also reinforced the earlier federal policy, listing as Indian offenses punishable by fines and imprisonment the sun dance and so-called religious ceremonies. By 1934, Commissioner of Indian Affairs John Collier's crusade for Indian reform found that many of the federal policies were not working. He ended the Dawes Act, which allegedly was designed to make the Indians more responsive to the land as farmers and ranchers. The Dawes Act's policy went against the Indian belief that no one could own the Earth Mother. People could only use the natural resources she provided. Collier also implemented sweeping changes in the Indian boarding school system and Indian life in general. No interference with Indian religious life or expression will hereafter be tolerated, he wrote. The cultural history of Indians is in all respects to be considered equal to that of any non-Indian group, and it is desirable that Indians be bilingual, fluent and literate in the English language, and fluent in their vital, beautiful, and efficient native languages. The Indian arts are to be prized, nourished, and honored. Our arrival at the boarding school in 1935